So I just had a really interesting revelation. I just got done officiating a wedding, and I've officiated hundreds of weddings, over 500 weddings to be exact, and even though I've officiated so many weddings, I still sometimes get quite quite often I get a little nervous when I'm up there. Just, it doesn't show or anything, but I can feel a little bit of, nervousness inside when I'm up there, doing my thing. And so tonight, I was officiating this wedding at a really nice venue, and this was, a lot of people there and everything, videographers and photographers and everything had to be coordinated perfectly. And so usually in these types of situations, I still do a phenomenal job, but I do get a little nervous just because I care about what I'm doing. And so all of a sudden when I was up there, and it's starting, the right as it's starting, the microphone starts, not working. It's like zizzling in and out. And this isn't my fault, the DJ setup, but the microphone I'm using, it's like cutting in and out and all staticky, and I was just like, whoa, okay, this isn't good. But I kept, I gotta remain, as a professional, I have to remain calm and, never can act like anything is wrong, so I just have to keep going on. And finally, after about, 30 seconds or 60 seconds, a minute or so, fortunately the microphone started working, and, and it just, everything was fine from there on out. But I started to think about it right around that moment. We're about halfway through the ceremony. I'm putting on an awesome performance and everything, but at the same time I have my own thoughts, thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't even feel the tiniest bit of nervousness or anxiety, even during that whole situation with the microphone, where normally, even without any kind of situation, I would feel some nervousness or a little bit of anxiety, just because I care about what I do and I want to put on a, always want to put on a good performance. But given the fact that all of a sudden things were going wrong, and this was a, really organized and nice wedding, I still didn't even get the slightest bit of nervousness or anxiety. And I thought, and I started thinking, like, wow, that's incredible. I don't have any nervousness or anxiety. And right now I'm on day 3 of my solid food vacation, day 3 of my fast. And it's interesting. The reason why I say this is because I've had this revelation today about food and fasting and anxiety and nervousness. Because just this morning, I got up early today and I was reading. I woke up with a lot of energy and I was reading Professor Arnold Ehret's book, The Mucusless Diet, phenomenal book. And in there, it was interesting. It was talking about how the ancient philosophers, like Plato's and Hippocrates and Socrates and all them, actually as a requirement in order to get into the ancient mystery schools, the educational, private mystery schools back then, it was actually a requirement that they had to fast for like 30 days to be able to get into the school. And the reason why is because these ancient mystery schools, they wanted their minds to be in such an optimal peak state that they could retain and absorb and assimilate all the powerful education and information that they were going to be teaching them. And so they actually, even the same thing I read about in Egypt as well, that fasting was a requirement in order to get into the mystery schools, to be able to learn the most powerful of information. So because that way they knew for sure your brain wasn't going to be clouded. And then also coincidentally this morning, I just happened to be watching a Dr. Sebi YouTube video. Huge fan of Dr. Sebi. And it was interesting because all of a sudden he talked about how getting nervous, how public speaking, when he was talking about how getting nervous when doing public speaking isn't natural, and that has to do with having a lot of food in our gut and an unhealthy digestive system. And he was saying how you shouldn't, naturally, you shouldn't feel any nervousness or anxiety when doing public speaking. And that as you fast and as you clear out the digestive system, that nervousness and that anxiety when doing public speaking goes away. Dr. Sebi was talking about this, and I was like, whoa, and this was this morning before this situation just happened. So it all made sense, and that's why all of a sudden when I was officiating the wedding, and all of a sudden I realized that I wasn't experiencing any anxiety or nervousness, and I was like, I'm day 3 into a fast right now. I was like, oh my gosh, like, it just all started clicking. And then afterwards I started thinking about how, I was in Toastmasters for many years, public speaking organization, awesome organization. It helped, me to greatly improve my public speaking abilities. But I remember, I knew a lot of great public speakers, and I remember that a technique and a strategy that was taught to me was that always, you didn't want to eat before giving a speech, and if anything, it was preferable to fast all day up until you were done with your speech, because I remember being taught by someone who's an incredible public speaker, and they said that they would fast all day, until they were done with their speech, because that way their mind would be in a peak state. And they said you would never want to eat before you speak, because then your mind won't be as sharp. And this was years before I learned about fasting or even got into it. And for years, I remember every time I had to give a speech for Toastmasters, like competing in a competition or something, I would fast all day. That way, and if it was really important to me, I remember, when I was, did some of the annual competitions. I got up to like this 3rd level. I remember I would fast for like 2 days leading up to it, just because I knew that the more I fasted leading up to it, that the better my speech would be and my performance would be. And so that's why I said all of a sudden I had this, just revelation when I was in the middle of officiating the wedding, like, wow, like, oh my gosh, the connection between our gut health, our mind, fasting, and anxiety and nervousness, that, potentially being nervous is maybe not even something that is natural, that we shouldn't really actually experience. I got to dive more deeper into researching about this, but it makes sense. The gut and the brain, they're directly connected. And if you think about it, the gut, the digestive system almost kind of looks like the brain. That's how similar they are. They've got the pipes and the tubes and everything. It almost kind of looks like the brain when you look at it. So they're so heavily connected. The mind-body connection, your mind directly to your gut. So it makes sense why the anxiety and the nervousness would go away when all of a sudden the pipes are clean. It's in my opinion, I think arguably the single best mind hack on the planet to be able to improve your cognitive performance and improve, just improve your mental performance is just simply through fasting. Because you've cleaned it out, and that way the signals between your mind and your gut, are operating like that. And so it makes complete sense now why, you would get nervous. And it's funny because I remember being on a forum, and I remember seeing someone post about how they did a solid food vacation, a fast for like 2 weeks or something, and they were saying how typically they're the type of person that's really shy and has anxiety when approaching women and talking to women, but they were saying how when they were in that fasted state that they were able to just talk to women and they didn't feel any anxiety or nervousness at all, like it was just completely gone, and that how blown away they were by that. So there's something magical that happens when you fast and you clean out the body. And so, if you're someone that has a lot of anxiety and shyness and things like that, then do a solid food vacation, clean out the pipes, and that way it'd definitely be worth an experiment with yourself, to clean out the pipes, see what happens. Maybe all of a sudden you'll find that the anxiety goes away, that the shyness or at least reduces and goes away. I know myself, I've known this now for years about how fasting is, just your brain. It's like the longer you go on the fast, the more your brain turns on, the better, that all the signals and everything wire together and everything just flies. It's like I can just think on light speed the longer that I get into a fast. It's amazing. It's like I can retain information quicker when I'm learning, and I'm more curious when I'm fasting. I'm more and everything that I'm learning, it just soaks right in. It's like I'm like a sponge. So I'm on day 3 right now of my annual solid food vacation. I'm feeling phenomenal. It's been quite incredible just how good that I really feel. I wish that everybody could experience this at least once in their life. to see how good that you can feel by going on a solid food vacation and cleaning out the body. And that's why I do this now as an annual treat to myself, to do an extended fast, an extended solid food vacation, because it just feels so good. I've been journaling like crazy, and yeah, because when I look back on all my journal entries of the past years and everything, always I could clearly see how on fire I was, how good I felt. And I felt very little hunger at all. Really have felt next to no hunger at all. Energy's been through the roof. Emotions have just been awesome. I just feel totally good. And I just got home now, and I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna work on some projects, and I just feel like I could stay up all night just like working on things. So much energy. That's why I said I wish everybody could experience this natural high, this natural gift that we all can do. And it's simple. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, leave a comment below, and let me, those who are fasting right now on this journey with me, leave a comment below. Let me know how you're doing. And if you haven't started fasting yet, then just stop eating, join me on a fast, even if just for a day or two, and you're in for a treat. And until next time, guys, let's make it a great day, a great week, a great month, a great year. Let's make it a great life. See ya.